Hi everybody, this is Kyle from Kubb On, and I'm here to make a quick little video for you to show you the basics of Inkasting. I haven't found anything quite like this type of video where it just kind of shows you how to get started. A lot of people have asked me, you know, how do you hold it, how do you get started, and some people think it's almost like a thing you have to learn on your own before you can kind of ask people how to Inkast, but I'm going to give you everything I know and how I started and what worked best for me. Obviously, everybody's a little different. Everybody's going to hold the Kubb a little different. Everybody's going to work a little bit different. So find what works best for you. But for me, when I teach people how to start, first thing I do is I teach them how to hold it. So what you need to do is you need to find the soft spot right in the middle of your palm here. Okay? Right in the middle of your palm is a soft spot. And I put one of the corners right there in the soft spot. Then I take my pointer finger and I put it right down one of the spines of the Kubb. Okay, straight down the spine. These two fingers here, I wrap around the corner, and this one isn't quite long enough to make it around the corner, so it just kind of sits here just short of the corner. If you want it around the corner, if it's long enough to make it around the corner, you can do that. But my hands are pretty small, so this one's a little bit short. And then my thumb, I guess I'll go this way. My thumb is on this other corner. So you have a thumb on one corner, you got your pointer finger on one corner, and you've got your pinky and your right ring finger on one corner. Okay? And make sure you've got that corner in your palm. What you need to know is at the beginning, the further tucked into your palm it is, so if I tuck it all the way down here, the less control over the Kubb you have, which at the beginning it's probably better to have a little less control, but I think right in the middle of the palm is a good spot to have it. That's where I still do it. I do move it around for different throws, but right in the middle of the palm I think is a good spot. I've seen people who are a little further out, and I've seen people who are almost all fingertips. None of that is wrong. This gives you a lot of control, but with a lot of it gives you a lot less control. There's a lot more things you can do with it, but it's a lot easier to make errors with what you're doing. So if you want to do something a little crazier, you want to turn it a little harder or whatever, people will put it out a little further, but it's also whatever's comfortable with you. So I start with right in the middle of my palm, and I grip it like that. Next thing I usually tell people is when they feel like they need to spin it really hard when they start. They feel like, and there's a lot of twisting they try to do. They're trying to twist it and throw it hard. Don't twist it a lot. In fact, when I throw, I just kind of let it roll out of my hands. So when I'm doing it, and what I've told people before is the motion I make is when I let it roll out is I just kind of wave hi to somebody. So I go from here to here and just say hi. So same side hi. I just do this motion. And I'm gonna put up some video here after I talk, kind of just demonstrate that. So that's basically how you hold it, how I release it. Another thing you need to learn is how to kind of land it. So basically what they say is you kind of want to land your Kubb at a 30-degree angle or so. I think that's what they say is the optimal angle. It also depends on what grass you're on. If it's really soft, it's a little more forgiving and you can do a little bit more with your angle and you can get away with it. If it's harder, I feel like you need to be a little flatter to get it to stick, but it depends on the ground, obviously. So a 30-degree angle is something like this, and that's the kind of the angle you want that corner to dig into the ground in order for it to get the Kubb to stop. Okay, on harder ground you can land it a little flatter, but on normal ground, if you get too flat, you'll skid out. It'll skid and go like this. If you get too high up with the angle and it gets too vertical, you'll see it tumble. So if you start seeing your Kubb tumble, that means you need to flatten it out a little bit more. If you get it too flat, you'll see it skid, or it won't tumble, or it'll hit the ground and catch and tumble with the flat one. So Once you get the angle, you'll be good. But like I said, a lot of it has to do with the ground. The other thing I would do to start, and what I did to start, is I didn't go straight to 4 meters when I started throwing. I started throwing at 2 meters, so halfway between the midline, and I stayed at 2 meters until I got a good rotation and I was consistent with it. So I was just kind of tossing it out 2 meters real quick until I got a good rotation. I felt comfortable. Then I moved to about 3 meters and I threw that until I felt comfortable. And then I threw it 3.5 meters until I felt comfortable. And then I started throwing to 4 meters. And then for about 2 months after that, while I was learning how to Inkast, I would do that to start. Before I threw any Kubbs or any batons or anything, first thing I would do is I'd throw to 2 meters until I felt comfortable. I'd throw to 3, throw to about 3.5, and then I would throw to 4 before I did anything else. And after about 2 months, I had gotten it down to the point where I didn't need to throw that short anymore. I could just pick it up and go straight to 4 meters. But it also depends on how much you're practicing. I was practicing at least 2 to 3 times a week to get that. It takes a lot of work. It's not something that is easy to learn, so don't get frustrated when you can't learn it after a few days. It's really not that easy, but I would compare it a lot to riding a bike. Is once you know how to do it and you've learned it well, you could not play for years and you could pick up a Kubb and Inkast it, because it's almost like if I tried to not Inkast right, if I tried to mimic what other people are doing, I couldn't do it. Just like it's really hard for somebody who knows how to ride a bike to try to not ride a bike. You just can't do it. Once you know what you're doing, it's like second nature. So I'm gonna show you how I got started. So you can actually see what I did when I started and things that you can mimic, and so you can get started yourself. Okay? Kubb On. So another tip you need to know is when I said spin it, not to spin it too much or too hard. So there's when you get started, the thing you need to know is when you spin it like really light spin, you kind of get it to stick and it won't really go anywhere. So you'll see on the ones that I'm doing, I usually don't spin very hard, so they kind of just sit and they'll turn one way or the other. The more spin you get, generally the more action you get. So just know that at the beginning, is if you're spinning it and you've got a nice spiral and you're spinning it hard and it's going all over the place, it's probably because you got a lot of spin on it. That's going to give you a lot of action. So try taking a little bit of spin off it to get a little less action if that's what you're going for. If you need more action, you want to hit one battering ram it into the pile or whatever, then give it more spin. You kind of have to practice both.